Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Amazons.
Today on the Amazons, we are looking and talking about killer doctors in our hospitals. I'm Aisha Falude. Silo Bankole Omasambua. Welcome again to Amazons today, our beautiful audience. Welcome to the Amazons. We hear daily, really, and very disturbingly so, cases of where people have gone to hospitals for simple ailments and they don't come back. Some have gone on emergency and they don't come back. Some have gone for surgery because of some negligence, they never return. It's either you hear cases of equipment being forgotten in some stomach or in some womb. You hear of cases where there's been accident victims at the point of death being rushed to hospitals, and the hospitals are demanding for deposits before treatments can be given. You've heard cases of where overdose of anesthetics, they call it, has been given to patients and they never wake up. These are very disturbing, stories that you hear because human life, like they say, has no duplicates. Once it's gone, it's gone. It is forever. This is what we are looking at on the Amazons today. I mean, we hear stories. What stories have you heard?
Oh, I'm a bit sober right now, actually, because these stories, unfortunately, are too rampant in Nigeria. And it makes you wonder if really this Hippocratic oath they remember as doctors when they come into the business of practice. Because for a lot of people, a lot of the things you have said, misdiagnosis, or people get it totally wrong. I know there are a lot of cancers that could have been survivors right now through early detection, but they were diagnosed as either appendicitis. Everything seems to be typhoid and malaria.
That's right.
You understand? And then, so it goes to say our health system, like everything else, needs a total revamping.
That's Can I come in here now?
Yeah.
You were talking about everything being malaria and typhoid. Well, Nigeria and Africa as a whole is a self-medicating nation. How many people actually go out, once you just have a little temperature or a headache, many of us just go across the counter because our government laws are, relaxed when it comes to medical, to relax. Yeah. So we just go and buy things that we're not supposed to be able to have access to across the counter. For instance, I'm not trying to, I'm not a medical practitioner, so I can't say much about that, but all I know is that there are some hospitals you see, just from looking at them from the outside, I wonder when people go inside there, what they expect. Because the story is being told from the way the thing looks from the outside. That's this, and then when you go to before you were looking for a good doctor, you were looking for a good lab, you would go to the government hospitals.
Those are cases that you won't say are self-brought. We're talking about even the established hospitals. They may not be government. Government is, the teaching hospitals, the state hospitals, general hospitals.
But which laws?
What about when you go to a hospital that has been accredited by the medical council as a hospital that should practice? But so how many cases have been prosecuted? If we are not sure, and deaths have occurred, misdiagnosis have occurred, negligence has occurred, incompetence has occurred. What has been done to sanction such hospitals? How many cases have you heard?
Of them shutting them
down, withdrawing certificates, even prosecuting We say, you know, we leave everything. We say, look, Nigerians, we don't even help the matter. Leave everything to God. God knows why. I think, you know, God, as much as we depend on God for everything, God would also expect of us to do some little things by ourselves. Then He can come and perfect, you know, and carry what you have started through for you. I think we should reevaluate this. So we have to. We just go on a break now. When we come back, we would have some people who have either had a personal experience or going through the experience or are victims themselves. And then we also hear from the doctors why there is a cash before treatment in our hospitals and where incompetence and negligence that has led to so many deaths are still being left, you know, unsanctioned and unprobed, if there's a word like that. After the break, we are looking at killer doctors in our hospitals on the Amazons today.
But there is something in thought. We call it res ipsa loquitur. The action speaks for itself. In those cases where an operation is being carried out and the doctor forgot that action speaks for itself. Yes. You don't even need an expert to come and tell you. In such cases, we might get judgment for the victim.
I thought somebody says to me, it's a government hospital, it's a social service, I'm supposed to come here and get treated.
Yeah.
At no expense to me. And even if I'm going to pay, government, said to me, it is highly subsidized.
Sean Essien, a 2-year-old boy, was opulent, full of life, and a bundle of joy to his parents, who loved and coveted him as a priceless gift from God. A bright, lovely kid, who looked every inch one who would grow majestically to greatness. The dream was to be cut short by death, and today Sean Essien is no more. According to his mother, Sean died because of the nefarious activities of fake or incompetent medical personnel who attended to him when he took ill.
When I got to the hospital that morning, the doctor ran some tests and said he had acute malaria and that his PCV was 18%, so 18% blood. So it just occurred to me when they gave him the 4th IV bag that if these people said in the morning that he had 18% blood, isn't all the liquid going right through his veins diluting his blood? I don't know anything about medicine, but I just felt like common sense. So I asked the doctor, are you not diluting this little child's blood? And then he said to me, oh, you're not a medical personnel. That's not possible. We're not doing that. And then he walks away from the room where my son was. And as he was going, he called a nurse to follow him. As they left, she came back immediately, like 30 seconds, a minute later, and took out the IV fluid. So I asked her, why did you take it out? And she said, oh, the doctor asked me to. And that was the 4th one that had stayed like 10-15 minutes. So they took out the IV fluid. At this time, my son was badly bloated. He was trying to breathe. He had been trying to breathe from the second bag, at the end of the second bag, or when he was getting to the end of the second bag. And I'd been complaining, asking them that, oh, he had a catarrh as well. Do you have a nebulizer? They didn't know what a nebulizer was. So a nurse ended up using her mouth to blow his nose. She blew it from one side and it came out from the other one. She blew the second time and it came out with a bit of blood as well. You know, I took a picture of that because it was a gory sight. So the doctor comes and then I'm like, look what just happened. You people don't have a nebulizer here, or rather they don't know what a nebulizer is. And he says, oh, you know, it's December Harmattan, so maybe the whole Harmattan, the dryness as she blew the nose, so made blood come out. He was just giving me some excuses and just told the nurse, you should have just used cotton wool and tried to clean it up. And at about almost 11 p.m., that's 16 hours after being in that hospital and after getting assurance over assurance over assurance that my son would be fine, they decided to refer us. The first one we went to is the Vital Care Hospital. It's in Ojo local government area, somewhere called Ilogbo.
Sean's father, like a real man that he is, draws from his inner strength to contain his own pain from the incident to console his tearful wife.
We went there for help with our son. He was ill, yes. We went there and we expected the doctor to do his best, which is his medical best to, make this boy, come out healthy, which he gave my wife and my dad that assurance. But apparently, he didn't know what he was doing, because from our own little questions we've asked and investigations and reading, we know you're not supposed to give, a 2-year, 5-month-old boy one big bag of IV fluid, which is 500 mLs, and then you give like 2,000 of that, and that's extremely, that's for someone that doesn't know what he's doing.
Now the distraught couple wants justice as they allege that the doctor and hospital are dubious and culpable.
After a lot of grueling investigation, I found out the doctor's name was Dr. David Sambo. So I go on Facebook, I see him there, I save his pictures, I screen grab everything I can screen grab, and I save, and then I decide to write a petition to the police. I wrote to the Commissioner of Police, I copied to the Governor of Lagos State, the Commissioner of Health Lagos State, the Nigerian Medical Association, Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, the Honorable Member representing Ojo constituency, and some other parastatals, and the police have been investigating. My son meant so much, not just to us, to my parents, to my mother-in-law, to everybody that, that ever met him during his lifetime. Even in school, this boy was loved by everybody, right from the day he was born, to the last day. In death, we even love him more, and that's the reason why we want justice for him. It's not just what people say, let him go, he's dead, he's not going to come back, and things like that. But I know, for one, that there are other families like us. We need to get justice. We need to know that people out there that are supposed to, help people when they're sick, do their job, do their job, and it's not just a money-making venture when you go to the clinic and demand money and do whatever they like, So we just want to get justice, and the justice is doctors were competent if they did everything medically possible to save the boy. But Sean meant a lot to us. We love him when he was alive, and we love him more even now that he's gone.
Attempt to get the hospital side of the story was unsuccessful. An official at the hospital referred Amazons to a police detective who said off camera that the case is under investigation and no one can speak on it. While this goes on, it is pertinent to point out that cases of ill-equipped, poor or insensitive medical staff accounting for loss of precious lives have been on the increase. Iconic broadcaster Sadiq Daba also has a story to tell.
But then maybe it's not so much the government. Maybe the government provides this. Maybe somebody somewhere with this our corruption attitude bypass what is supposed to be for patients into their own private thing. This I don't know. So all I do is to implore government, look into these things, correct this situation. I mean, put a monitoring unit on ground. I mean, we are not supposed to be killing people, we are supposed to be healing people.
More stories abound of some hospitals making a demand list, which curiously includes items like petrol and kerosene for pregnant women going for delivery. Nigerians who wonder why items like matches, kerosene and petrol are needed before a woman goes into the delivery room will be glad if appropriate authorities intervene and arrest the ugly trend.
Welcome back to the Amazons. Today we are looking at negligence in some of our hospitals. We are looking at incompetence of some of our doctors. We are looking at deaths that have arisen or have arose outside of negligence because of our doctors' incompetence. You know, I could go on and on. It's a very, when you think about it, you probably think that we actually do not have any regard for human lives
Yes.
anymore in Nigeria. We don't have. Let's bring in our guest. He's a victim of this negligence that we are talking about, a victim of incompetence and total lack of disrespect total lack of respect for human life, in our hospitals. A very reputable and professional actor. If you all remember, I'm sure those of you who are here, you don't even know what Cocro is. There's no television anymore now. Cocro.
No, but they've seen him recently.
They've
seen him recently.
You will want to be a farmer. This is a program that if you heard the montage alone, whatever you were doing, you drop it. And one of those that made Cocro what it is, and if you also watch October 1 recently. October 1. Yes. Please welcome Mr. Sadiq Daba. Thank you, audience. So good to see you. Can I call you Beatrice?
Well, I don't know. I have been dying to meet you.
Do you know? I even had a crush on you. Let me tell you.
Who did it?
Beatrice gave Mr. Gaga so much trouble on Cocro. It's so good to see you,
Thank
Beatrice.
you. Thank you very much.
You heard what we were talking about. This subject. I'm very angry. I'm very angry because not only do I know people who have lost somebody as a result of negligence and incompetence in the hospital, the way that we carry on after it leaves me wondering if we are humans at all. Do you understand? What is your own story?
Aisha, if you ask the question whether I do understand, indeed I do understand, because I've experienced it. Because I know the story. Because I've passed through it. And for me, I hate to say this, but sometimes you want to believe, but then you can't believe. So much propaganda, so much things thrown at you, and then suddenly reality strikes you in the face. Negligence, it's out there. And what angers me is the lie and seeming nonchalance of people at the top. I'll give you an example. I'm a case in point. I was sick. I had a touch of leukemia. And at my old age, I don't expect, things happen. And I was diagnosed leukemia, and I was advised from Abuja to come over to a tertiary institution because that is where you can get.
You are expected to get the best treatment.
Yes.
But believe me, Aisha, the reverse was the case I got.
I said it.
It starts with the attitude of the nurses.
That's a Nigerian thing.
It's as if they forget suddenly that there's that thing that is swore to. I think they call it Hippocratic.
Hippocratic oath, that's what we talk
But that
about.
they throw out of the window. And before I got sick, it started with my wife. She was pregnant. Took her to the hospital. I went back to work. She went into labor. I was called. Came over to the hospital, and lo and behold, my poor wife was lying down on a bench.
That's a hospital.
Why?
You get what I was saying now.
Because the nurses just don't give a damn.
There were no beds?
There were no beds, yeah.
That is what I said. But by the time I got there and raised hell,
A bed came out.
And rightly so.
Oh.
You know what strikes me from the story now? When I introduced him, I said a renowned actor. Everybody knows him.
Yes.
From the days of Kokra Dawn to October 1, a seasoned actor. If that can happen to him,
Exactly.
you can then begin to imagine people who are not as
Who have
privileged,
no
ordinary
name
Joes
to face.
like us.
faceless Nigerians.
Yes.
Those Nigerians that we call Nigerians, you know.
The man and
you
the
can
common
then
man.
imagine what they do to them in the hospitals.
On a daily
It is not a
basis.
favor that these people are doing to us. It is their duty to care for the sick. That's why they are nurses, that's why they are doctors.
But ladies, that is why it hurts so
Even more.
much.
Yes.
And the word, it was not even a word. It was an emergency situation created along a corridor at LASUT, Lagos State,
Lagos State
University. And
Teaching
it's
Hospital.
supposed to be a teaching
Hospital.
It's supposed to be one of the best.
And I was propped up on one makeshift bed. Ladies, for the first time I got scared in my life because they brought the patient right in front of me. 10 minutes, he died. They brought another one. He stayed overnight. He died.
Oh, Lord.
That's two. They brought another one by my side. He died.
You were waiting.
And you were still waiting there.
I was
you were
hanging
waiting
there because they brought a long list that you should buy gloves, you should buy syringe, you should buy
Needles.
plaster,
You buy the needle as well.
you should pay for Panadol. And I said, hold on. I thought somebody says to me, it's a government hospital, it's a social service. I'm supposed to come here and
Treatment.
get treated
Yeah.
at no expense to me. And even if I'm going to pay, they, government, said to me, it is highly subsidized.
You see, Sadiq,
I said, hold on, just 1 minute. And then I went so gasping for breath. And I needed oxygen. They went all over the place, brought oxygen. Poor me, I thought the ward against social services was free. They billed me.
For oxygen.
Oh, yes. Well, I've always said, given the chance, if I'm in government, I'll pack all of them, line them up at the bar beach, and shoot them.
Yes.
you know, that will be, you know, we are talking about saving human lives. Sadiq, I know you are angry enough to want to shoot somebody, but we won't shoot anybody, we won't kill anybody. Rather, we would want people to survive, no matter what the situation is, the circumstance. But the hospitals, this is the oath they've taken, is to protect and preserve the human life, is to save lives. And if you cannot, there must be some sanction, which is why you have the regulatory body. We'll have more to talk about our killer doctors on the program of Amazons today. Sadiq Daba is here, a renowned actor, sharing his experiences at some of our government hospitals. We have more guests that will come in. We'll just be right back after the break. You are watching the Amazons.
I have a relation right now. She's pregnant, about to give birth, and she's been attending Lagos State Health Center. Okay. If you see the list they gave her, even for her to buy, among all the list, full scarf like this, 3 full scarf, you know, and 10 liters of fuel.
Oh,
yes, is in the list. 5 liters of kerosene. For what?
This is a government hospital.
Excuse me. Repeat again.
10 liters of fuel, 5 liters of kerosene inside that list.
There's this Lagos State Emergency Hospital by the toll gate there.
Yes.
Aisha, if you get there, you will think you are in the UK. Very professional nurses. Mm-hmm. The doctor is out of this world. I met him and I said, this belongs to Lagos State. And LASUT is misbehaving. Somebody, please do something.